What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a great day. My name is Anthony, and today we are going to talk about the glaring problem with your food storage. Roll it. Welcome back to Palmetto Prepared. In this video, we're going to talk about the glaring problem that is in everybody's food pantry, and that is salt, sodium intake. Now, there's a reason for this, and then I'm going to go into exactly why. But first, I wanted to talk about what happens when you have too much sodium in your body. Basically, I had to write these down. Excess sodium increases your blood pressure because it makes your body hold excess fluid. Your body cannot get rid of all the water because obviously, if you eat something really salty, some people are a little bit more susceptible to this than others. But they retain water, and you can usually tell in your fingers whenever you're trying to take off a ring, some sort of jewelry, you're putting on a little bit more water weight. So that's usually how people usually can find out that they have an issue. But that's what happens when you eat too much sodium. So over the long term, over a little while of doing this, you have increasing the risk of stroke, heart failure, osteoporosis, stomach cancer, kidney disease, and a big one that I wanted to mention here, and that is kidney stones. Because whenever you eat too much salt, too much sodium, your calcium builds up in your kidneys. You're retaining water and you're not getting rid of the calcium like you need to, so that can lead to having kidney stones. And if you've ever had one, raise your hand if you have. You know that you never ever want to experience that again. Some people are more susceptible to that than others, but I don't want anyone who's never had one to have one, so I wanted to bring this topic up in this video because I think it is that important. Why is every single thing we seem to buy loaded up with sodium? It's simple. There's two reasons. One, salt is a preservative, so obviously it's going to preserve the shelf life for that product, so that product can stay on the shelves longer. You can have to make less, or you can be able to sell without having to worry about throwing things away, so it makes more profit for the company. But it is also a food improvement, like it makes things taste better. So obviously when it comes to sugar, same thing with salt. We are hardwired, we are programmed to seek out that flavor in nature, so if they add it to the food, then that means the food is going to taste better and you are going to want to eat more of it. Obviously no one wants to eat French fries without salt. So that's the two reasons why you find it in almost everything, and that's why I wanted to bring it up here, because since it is in everything, you have to make sure you're watching your intake, because it is very dangerous when you have too much. Okay, so what is the maximum amount that you are actually allowed to have? The American Heart Association has said that they think that you need to have about 2,300 milligrams per day. That's about the average for a normal-sized adult. Keep in mind, that is for a younger, healthier adult. Those in a certain type of, those in a risk pool, that's what they say, need to have less than that. And when I say a risk pool, that means people who already have high blood pressure, people with diabetes, African Americans, and anyone over the age of 51 years old. Since you have a higher risk for having high blood pressure and hypertension, they suggest that you have 1,500 milligrams per day. So why am I bringing all this up? Point blank, because when you're stashing away food, especially pre-made, pre-packaged, boxed food, you are basically setting yourself up for failure. Everything that has already been processed, pre-made, whatever, has high amounts of sodium in there already. Like I said, this is one of those things they add to preserve and to make things taste better. So all those boxed dinners that you may be stashing, all those pre-canned foods that you may have are so loaded up with sodium, it's actually going to cause you major issues if that's all you're eating from. And to prove my point, I'm going to bring up some things that mostly everybody has in their long-term food storage of some sort. First thing is Spam. And another thing I wanted to throw on is how they hide it from you in the nutritional label. First thing is Spam. If you look on the back, it says nutrition facts. It shows the whole list, whatever. And you say, oh, sodium's only 790 milligrams. Well, that's only for one serving size. There's 3.5 serving sizes in this can. So if you eat one can of Spam per day, you're eating 2,765 milligrams of sodium. This one can already puts you over the maximum allowed amount. What about SpaghettiOs? I like SpaghettiOs. This one's SpaghettiOs with meatballs. But this thing on the back, sodium, we're looking at 1,060 per can. Campbell's Chunky Chicken Noodle Soup. Look on the back. 1,700 milligrams per can. Kraft macaroni and cheese, everybody's favorite. As processed, because you're going to want to put your butter and your milk in there, this is 1,710 milligrams per box. What about rice-a-roni? We don't like to eat, macaroni and cheese. We want to eat rice-a-roni instead. Doesn't matter. 1,700 milligrams per box. And everybody's quick favorite pick-me-up, ramen noodles. This one's not so bad, right? Think again, 1,660 milligrams per this one little block right here. Again, this brings me to the point of why I'm making the video in the first place. If that's all you're eating from, you are setting yourself and your family up for a lot of sodium intake, having a lot of problems getting rid of all your excess fluid, and you're going to have to drink a lot of water to flush all of that out of your system. Okay, so that not only are you going to have to worry about what you're actually storing, what you're actually eating, you're going to have to also store more water to flush all that sodium through your body. So keep that little tidbit in mind whenever you're stashing away foods like that. So what do I recommend? Sure, you can absolutely stash a lot of that stuff away. I do, especially for like a 3 to 5 to 7 day kit. Eating that kind of stuff for a few days isn't going to make a big deal. But when it comes down to a long-term food storage, you also want to really remember that making things from scratch, making things that from very basic ingredients, you are allowed to control how much salt goes in that. So if you're eating fresh ingredients from the garden, you're eating rice, plain rice, flour that you can make your own bread, you can control how much salt you're actually putting in there. It'll be much better and much healthier for your family. Now, before you get upset, and I'm sure some of y'all might be getting upset watching this whole video, I'm not a dummy. I am fully aware and capable and understand that during any kind of situation, you're going to be doing a lot of manual labor, you're going to be doing a lot of work, and you're going to need the salt to make sure that you're not cramping. I understand that. I completely get that. But there's a little bit of a difference between having enough salt to make sure you're good versus completely overloading yourself to the point where you're not being able to flush your kidneys properly. Not to mention the fact that excess sodium does cause massive headaches in some people. So how much work do you think you're going to be able to get done when you have massive amounts of headaches or you're completely bloated full of water? So it's just one thing I wanted to add here. Yes, I am fully aware that you need a higher sodium intake because you'll be doing a lot of sweating, a lot of manual labor. However, there's a difference between having a higher amount for making sure you're good for not cramping versus having a completely outrageous amount by the time you even hit lunchtime because you failed to plan accordingly. Alright, I'm going to end it there. If you learned something from this video, please give me that thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will catch y'all in the next one, alright? Later.